And a warm welcome to TBC News, our top stories. Government approves $3.5 billion for East African crude oil pipeline project. Expansion and modernization of the court services uploaded. Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages at TBC Online. The government has given its approval for the construction of a 1,443-kilometer East African crude oil pipeline worth $3.5 billion. Is a report by Henry Mabumo, read by Nasser Kingo.
The approval grants legal permission to allow the contractor to start the construction of the pipeline with a length of 1,443,000 kilometers, equivalent to 900 miles, which would cross over through 8 regions, 24 districts from Chongoleani, Tanga region in Tanzania. While witnessing the occasion, Minister of Energy January Makamba identifies how will this benefit Tanzania.
Benefits of this project are clear. We'll have about 10,000 employment opportunities, a lot of local content opportunities as well in terms of supply of goods and services during the construction. We believe that it will contribute tremendously to local economies where this pipeline is passing.
He further gives the stand of Tanzania on the issue of natural resources and environmental protection.
We are hopeful that at some point they will stop harassing us, because we see a lot of hypocrisy in terms of pushing us to not extract our hydrocarbons and use them for the benefit of our country, while in Europe they continually do the same. They benefit from hydrocarbons, they heat their homes, they run their industries, they run their cars from oil and gas. Why should we not be allowed to do that?
EWURA Director General Dr. James Andilile mentions that the license is related to the Tanzanian side, while according to the law, EWURA is responsible for issuing permits for low and medium stream petroleum exploration.
We have reviewed all the necessary technical and economic aspects of the project to try to align them with the required standard, both local and international standards. Therefore, despite of the outcry, which has been a challenge, we have confidence that the project will continue as it has been scheduled.
Wendy Brown is the East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline Executive Director, who says that obtaining the permit is a crucial step in the implementation of the project, of which 80% is here in the country.
In Tanzania, 96% of the project-affected persons have signed their compensation agreements, and compensation has been paid to the PABs, this being due to the 4 weeks or so between signing and receiving payment. 43 of the 339 replacement houses to be built for the physically displaced people have been completed and handed over, with an additional 15 houses ready to hand over in the Labour district next week.
The head of the World Bank team of experts, Christine Owuor, has expressed her contentment with the progress of the project to expand and modernize the High Court services, including the establishment of a gender court, which is the first in the East African region. Speaking in Arusha immediately after visiting the Arusha Regional Integrated Court project, she insisted that the issue of establishing the gender court and improving the court infrastructure includes application of ICT systems.
Excellent job being done. We've been able to see various results that have been achieved, and this is important because these are the key areas of service delivery that the public wants to see from the judiciary. We've been able to get evidence-based facts about reduction in case backlog, case clearance rates, that cases now are being heard more expeditiously, that the judiciary itself is listening to the public and responding to their demands. as well as other areas around reducing costs, which is a significant improvement, which will help the people of Tanzania in terms of accessing services.
The chief court administrator in the country, Professor Elisante Ole Gabriel, makes it clear that he has said that the volume of pending cases has decreased, and this has increased the people's confidence in the judicial system.
Improvement also on backlog clearance, which has been reduced now from 11% to 6%, and we find that to be also another remarkable achievement. And what we want to promise is that we shall make sure that that will be going on. What basically we should do and we will do is to make sure that team spirit will also be existing between the World Bank team and also the judiciary to make sure that the high performance is achieved. Number 3 is the appreciation about the use of the ICT, and the World Bank team has commended a good job done by judiciary in the application of ICT systems to improve transparency, also the trust of the public about the justice dispensation. We have also taken note that we have been happy on the way the judiciary is managing the gender mainstreaming and gender justice framework. And we are happy that you have commended judiciary to that, and I want to promise you that we shall actually maintain that.
Head of Delivery Unit of the Judiciary of Tanzania, JDU, Dr. Angelo Brumisha, says they are working on 4 key areas of the judiciary system.
All these, what we have discussed, deliberated, all goes into improving the quality or just delivery, service delivery, for the betterment of our citizens as a whole, which is a core function or main task of the judiciary.
Moving on, Minister for Lands, Housing and Human Settlements Development, Dr. Angelina Mabula, has launched the Mbeya City Master Plan 2019-2039 to guide planning of the Mbeya City and its suburbs. The occasion was held earlier today in Mbeya and was attended by various politicians and government leaders, including Mbeya Regional Commissioner Juma Homera and District Commissioners. Here's a report by Adolf Mbata, read by Apasia Ringo.
Speaking immediately after the launch of the plan, the Minister of Lands, Housing and Human Settlements Development, Dr. Angeline Mabula, says the ambitious plan aims at providing vision of how the city of Mbeya should expand, grow and develop over a period of 20 years from 2019 to 2039. She clarifies that the plan includes strategies to develop and improve the old unplanned areas such as parts of Sinde, Mahanga, Mabatini, Old Forest, Ilomba and Semike.
I call on the Council and development stakeholders of the city of Mbeya to prepare a work plan strategy for the implementation of this plan in parallel with finding investment partners for the various projects that are linked here. If you want this program to be implemented properly, put it on your city website so that partners who want to collaborate with you to develop it will see it.
Dr. Mabula has called on institutions that provide various services in the city to use the master plan.
As we increase and improve the city, and the needs increase according to the population increase. So when we add people to the construction of internet houses, we'll get rid of them and build better houses.
Deogratis Kalimenze, who is the Director of Human Settlements Development at the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Human Settlements Development, here elaborates more on the plan.
This step gives an image of how the future of the next 20 years can consider the needs needed for the development of people.
At the moment, the franchise is ongoing, Honorable Minister. Another benefit is the implementation of city planning projects for new areas and establishing peripheral cities, namely Satellite Time Town, Mbeya Piki, Idunda, Salaga, and Mwanzekwa.
On his part, Mbeya Regional Commissioner Juma Homera warned some lawyers in charge of the cases of the areas allocated for the conservation of water sources to be vigilant.
Ukienda nenda ka verify hiyo jambo, jiridhishe nalo likoje.
If you verify that matter, be satisfied with it and know what it is. As the Prime Minister gives instructions that in this area of Mbarali, chain number 28 will be cancelled, and we are going to produce another chain based on the new proposed boundaries, which means this matter is complete.
In other news, the Minister for Finance and Planning, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, met and held talks with the Executive Director of the African Development Bank, AFDB, representing Tanzania, Mr. Jonathan Nzaikorera. Dr. Nchemba met Mr. Nzaikorera at Julius Nyerere International Airport in Dar es Salaam on his way to Bujumbura, Burundi, to attend the 43rd East African Community Ordinary Meeting of the Council of Ministers, scheduled to commence on the 23rd of February 2023. Mr. Nzaikorera has arrived in Tanzania today for a 4-day official visit where, among other things, he will inspect the progress of projects funded by the African Development Bank. Moving on, the Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, Mohamed Mchengerwa, has directed the Tanzania Tourist Board, TTB, in the country to ensure that all tourism attraction sites, including cultural attractions in the country, are branded as part of a short plan to increase the number of tourists. He made the remarks when visiting the board's office in Dar es Salaam. He urges the board to inspect why some of the tourists do not revisit the country. Mr. Mchengerwa insists various methods should be used to promote tourism, including using Tanzanian embassies abroad to market tourist attractions.
Kwa hiyo tunaweza kufika malengo iwapo tukiweza kutekeleza vyema mipango ambayo tumejiwekea.
We can achieve our goals if we can properly implement the plans we have set for ourselves. We fully believe that with what we have we can make progress. We will use expertise to ensure that this succeeds and our nation can make progress as well as increase the economy by promoting our tourist attractions, stability of our country in politics and the society as a whole. With the understanding of our Honorable President, I am sure that this will be possible and we will succeed.
On his part, the TTB Managing Director, Damasim Fugale, vowed to work on the instructions given.
So we actually promise him that all what he has said, along with the aligning with the plans of the institution, will make sure all these things are done. And one of the things he has insisted is make sure we're going to have to run. There's no time to walk. We're going to have to run, especially in the first 2 months. So what I can assure you that I and my team will put all those things together, and we're going to make sure whatever has been said is going to be implemented. Obviously, there'll be a lot of things which we need to do in the process. But as I said, as we promised, and of course, we know this is coming along with the bigger vision of the country, where the president of the country is actually pushing through the initiatives which she has already started, the Royal Tours. But again, as I said, I don't want to say a lot of things, but we're going to make sure whatever he has advised and constructed are going to be implemented accordingly.
Tanzania targets an increase in income from the sector to not $6 billion, equivalent to 14 trillion Tanzanian shillings, from 5 million tourists come 2025. Minister for Internal Affairs Engineer Hamed Masauni says the government has announced the removal of the time limit for the National Identification Cards, NIDA. He made this statement in Dar es Salaam and clarifies that the government has made the decision in order to reduce costs and time for the citizens.
Firstly, is the golden rule to enable national IDs with an expiry date to continue to be used. It will be remembered that the identification number present in National Identification Card is permanent and will not change. Therefore, if the size is infinite, it means that if someone finds out, you continue to use it for a long time, rather than starting to monitor and renew it, because it creates a challenge.
Engineer Masauni has asked the NIDA registration officers in the country to continue to educate people on the changes made. He asked that the government has allocated 42.5 billion for making other 13 million ID cards. Until now, the government has given NIDA numbers to 19.9 million people and 11 million IDs. Kagera Regional Commissioner Albert Chalamila says the government continues to execute plans to open the region for business with neighboring countries, including Rwanda, and currently has already allocated funds for the construction of a new and modern international market at the border of Rusumo, which will be used by Tanzanian businessmen to sell their products. Is a report by Charles Mubea, read by Lulua Mohammed.
Kagera Regional Commissioner Albert Chalamila made the remarks during a meeting involving the Kagera region and the eastern province of Rwanda residents, which was held in Bukoba, and explained the strategies of the region to build new markets for local and international traders.
Honorable President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan has provided funds for the construction of an international market at the Rusumo border, which will help to improve our businesses and products, and also by having a market center that can connect businessmen and women will automatically facilitate their business.
Some ambassadors explained the importance of the meeting in strengthening cooperation and economic diplomacy.
Kupitia kikao hiki, sasa tuenda kufungua ukurasa mpya.
Through this session, we are going to open a new page to raise the economy of Kagera region on the agriculture sector, modern fish farming, and other sectors.
Through the business in the two regions, the citizens will be facilitated in doing business in our two countries.
Traders are optimistic towards the strategy.
Both governments have agreed to solve and remove the border challenges in business, where we can conduct our business smoothly, and the business procedures will be handled quickly.
We will make it possible to establish new relationships and partnerships where we will strengthen and grow our businesses, but also open up the Kagera region economically.
Nakuru waterfalls found in the Arusha National Park are marked to be the most beautiful waterfalls on the slope of Mount Meru. It is part of the Temi River that flows through Arusha's city center and into the outskirts of that city. Apasia Ringo has more details.
The Nakuru waterfalls are located on the slopes of Mount Meru, a few kilometers north of the city of Arusha. It is inside the Tinapa zone, which is the southwestern part of Arusha National Park. Nakuru Park is also under the Tanzania Forest Services Agency, TFS. Nakuru Park has various attractions, but the biggest one is the Nakuru Falls, which are 78 meters long, and they flow straight to the ground. Its environment is diverse and attracts visitors from different countries. There are several activities that an individual can do around the park, such as filming, swimming, bird watching, forest cycling and meditation, picnicking and hiking to the falls as you enjoy the beautiful scenery of Arusha City and Meru Viewpoint. The hike takes you through the Temi River Valley, one of the only ways to access the enclosure where the falls are located, so wear your hiking boots. No special tools or climbing skills are required to get there, but a bit of stamina is necessary to make your way through a valley filled with pebbles, rocks, and boulders, some of which may be slippery. When you finally get there, a picturesque scene awaits you. The only way to get to the falls is by driving or hiking. There are two routes that you can use to get there, one of which has a turning point heading north at Mount Meru Hotel, taking about a 15-minute drive up a steep sloped dirt road all the way to the Nakuru picnic site. The other route starts from a village north of the Sanawari area, following a small path on top of Oldonyo Sapuk. These are the marvels of Nakuru waterfalls. Welcome to Tanzania.
Thank you, Apasia Ringo, for that masterpiece. Moving on, rescue teams have been positioned in central Mozambique to help deal with the aftermath of a severe tropical storm heading towards the Mozambican coast. The cyclone baptized Freddy is expected to make landfall between Wednesday and Thursday this week after crossing over the island of Madagascar. Eudas Vilanculo reports.
The Mozambican president cut short his visit to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to come and deal with the coming emergency. The country is on red alert due to the approaching cyclone Freddy, a cyclone that began forming in Australia and is now crossing the neighboring island of Madagascar. By the 23rd, when it makes landfall on the Mozambican coast, the cyclone will have reached the phase of a severe tropical storm. The cyclone is expected to make landfall on Thursday this week. It will go across central Mozambique on its way to Zimbabwe. It will affect the weather in Zambezia, Sofala and Inhambane provinces. There will be very strong winds and heavy rains to the amount of 100 millimeters in 24 hours. Before traveling to Ethiopia, Philip News flew over the flooded areas in southern Mozambique. He visited the Korumana Dam along the Sabi River. Communities that reside downstream along this and other rivers in the country get flooded every year during the rainy season.
Nesta fase, somos chamados agora para
We now have to remove by force all the people living in high-risk areas. We will work to ensure that when the waters arrive, we have as few people as possible in these low-lying areas.
Trabalhar no sentido de que nestas zonas baixas estejam menos pessoas.
The National Water Administration Authority in Mozambique has put 4 river basins on high alert: the Zambezi River in the center and Maputo, Umbeluzi and Inkomate rivers in the south. The rivers Buzi and Pungwe, located in central Mozambique, are on the pathway of Cyclone Freddy. They are also on high alert.
Queremos mais uma vez apelar à tomada de medidas no sentido de retirar.
Once again, we ask the people to abandon the high-risk areas. We are talking about riversides and islands, and also avoid crossing rivers unnecessarily as they are full of fast-running water.
E também com uma alta velocidade que podem causar danos.
Central Mozambique is where most of the cyclones that hit the Mozambican coast make landfall. Rescue teams have already been sent to the area.
And that item concludes local news tonight. International news up next. Now let's dive into international news with Ahmed Salem.
6 people have died in a magnitude 6.3 earthquake that struck Turkey's southern province of Hatay in northern Syria. Kandili Observatory and Earthquake Research Institute said the epicenter was in the district of Samandang in Turkey, but various media outlets reported that the quake was felt in Syria, Israel, Iraq, Lebanon and Palestine. Turkish Health Minister Fahrettin Koca said 294 people were injured in Monday's evening earthquake. Syria's state news agency reported 6 people were injured in Aleppo from falling debris, while the mayor of Hatay said a number of buildings had collapsed, trapping people inside. Rescuers are once again searching for people trapped under rubble in Turkey after 2 new earthquakes hit the country. The death toll from the devastating rain and landslide in southeastern Brazil has risen to 40. Authorities in the state of Sao Paulo said 4 more people had been killed in addition to 36 on Sunday, with more casualties expected as 3,000 people remain missing. It is the latest in a series of disasters to strike Brazil, where shoddy construction, often on hillsides, has had tragic consequences during the country's rainy season. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva pledged to address the issue while visiting São Sebastião, saying homes should no longer be built in areas at risk of landslides and major floods. The rains came amid Brazil's Carnival holiday period, when thousands flocked to the region's beaches, likely aggravating the human toll of the natural disaster. According to the Sao Paulo state government, Sao Sebastião was the epicenter of flooding, with 39 of the deaths reported there. Kenya President William Ruto has urged the European Union to conclude an economic partnership agreement with the EAC so as to enable Kenya expand its export base. President Ruto made the remarks when he opened a two-day EU-Kenya Business Forum, which has brought together about 500 business people from Kenya and the European Union. The Business Forum was organized by the European Union in partnership with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance and the European Business Council, and is aimed at opening up trade and investment opportunities between Kenya and the European market. President Ruto told the European Union Business Council that the Kenyans offers a unique opportunity for trade across East Africa, given its strategic position in the region, and that it will be in the EU's best interest to conclude the pending deals. And the Russia President Vladimir Putin has announced that his country is suspending participation in new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, or START, between the US and Russia. Putin made the remarks while addressing the nation and also added that Russia needs to be ready to test nuclear weapons if the US does so first. New START is the last remaining nuclear arms deals between Russia and the US, and it was extended for 5 years in 2021. Originally signed in 2010, the treaty limits its size to 1,550 long-range nuclear warheads, a lower number than under the previous START deal. NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has said he regrets Russia's decision to suspend its participation in the new START nuclear arms control treaty with the United States, but urged Russia to reconsider the move.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports news, Liverpool hosts Real Madrid at Anfield in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg in a repeat of the 2021-2022 Champions League final. Today's game reminds Liverpool fans of the failures that endangered their lives in the last year's finals in Paris. The game was delayed for 37 minutes as fans struggled to enter the stadium after facing obstacles due to the approaching crowd. Madrid has won the 2 games they met with Liverpool, winning in the quarter-finals of 2020-2021 and in the final of the last season. Both clubs are looking to reach the quarter-finals for the 3rd consecutive season without losing at the last 16 stage since 2019-2020. And each boasts strong records at this stage of the UEFA Champions League. In other sports news, a Spanish court rejected the request of a Brazilian soccer player, Dani Alves, to be released from prison on remand during an investigation into allegations of sexual harassment in a Barcelona nightclub. The 39-year-old, who has denied any wrongdoing, was remanded in custody without bail on January 20th after a local woman lodged a complaint last month about an incident at a downtown Sutton nightclub. Police are investigating and the case remains open regarding the crime of sexual violence. Alves' lawyer has requested that he be released on bail if he surrenders his passport and wore an electronic tag, arguing that he had family ties in Spain. And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I am Faida Gaga. Au revoir.